Today you are going to learn how to get rich and stay rich in the age of AI, where everything is constantly changing. Every business idea you hear gets replaced by AI, and we're not going to let that happen to you. My name is Courtney Schall, and I'm a creative consultant that helps experts and everyday people turn their knowledge and expertise into assets that pay you passively. So let's just get started and get right into it because we don't have time. I know what you might be thinking, this is going to sound really difficult, but it's actually super easy, and I've boiled it down to just 3 simple steps in my what I call 3P framework. And we're just going to put framework, okay? So our step number 1, it is perceive hidden assets. And you might be thinking, okay, what does that mean? I'm going to tell you exactly how to extract these assets. So first, you need to recognize patterns within your life. How you're going to do that is you're going to take a piece of paper out right now or get on your notes app on your phone, and you're going to list down every single job that you've ever had. Even like babysitting, even Burger King, literally every single job. And I want you to get comfortable with noticing different patterns in your life. So you can make a ton of different combinations with this. But I want you to take one job, and I want you then to figure out, okay, so there's one job. What skill did I learn? Or what was difficult, what was easy for me in that job? Maybe you worked as a babysitter and you were really good at negotiating with the kids. You always got them to go to bed on time, whatever it is. You're gonna then write your second thing down, your second job, and how did that skill allow you to get your second job? Do that maybe 5 times because I want you to really get comfortable with understanding how to do this framework. People often don't struggle with what to do. They struggle with actually the ideation part, and this is what's going to help you fix that. Now that you've started recognizing patterns, the next step is to retrieve your skills and your experiences. So what do I mean with that? Well, for me, I was just a little baby, okay? I'm a little baby right here. I've got no skills, but I started singing and I was really good at helping people. And that later turned into being a music therapist. Well, I got burnt out and I started working in a nonprofit, and I learned motivational interviewing. And I also got burnt out at the nonprofit. And then I started my own meta advertising company. So I then learned meta ads. So right here, I have 3 skills that I uniquely am good at. I'm good at music therapy, I'm good at motivational interviewing, and I'm good at meta ads. Now, that is how we retrieve information and our skills. And stick with me, I know it's going to make sense in just a second. After we retrieve our skills, then we are going to reframe them. So in our assets, we have recognized the pattern, retrieved our skills, and now we're going to reframe them. Okay. So with reframing, I always like to combine 2 skills that don't seem to go together and see what type of combinations we can get with that. So now that we got my skills, I decided, and you're gonna play along with this too, I wanna pick music and I wanna pick meta ads together. Those are the 2 skills that don't seem to go together at all, and we're gonna pick those and get to the next part in this formula, okay? Oops, we used it backwards. Okay, so number 2. Now that we have recognized the patterns, retrieved experiences and skills, and reframed, now we are going to package the intellectual property. All right, so what do I mean by intellectual property? Any idea that you have can be packaged as intellectual property, and it's actually very lucrative, and this is the meat and bones of all of this. So it might surprise you that investors who have been investing in real estate are now buying people's YouTube channels, and they are considering them very valuable assets. All a YouTube channel is somebody's ideas put on into a video. They're also buying people's frameworks. They're buying people's books and reselling them as their own. People have a difficulty creating ideas, and you are going to learn how to create ideas out of thin air with this formula. So ideas is what's going to keep you around when AI can take everything else away. How are we going to package this IP? One, we are going to simplify. Now, simplifying just means something that anybody can follow. So I'm not the only music therapist who did songwriting in psych hospitals. I am not. However, I am the only music therapist who created a very simple structure that could be done in an hour for people who have never written songs before by helping them with their 5 senses. So I simplified it, songwriting, into just write down your 5 senses. Make sure each line, write 4 lines, and make sure each line is 6 to 12 syllables. And then you're going to use this chord pattern, or you're going to sing a cappella, and then your song comes to life. Like, it is so simple. And so I want you to think about, how can I simplify what I already know to somebody who has no skill, no knowledge. This is really the key, because a lot of people want to tell people everything they know, but you actually want to just tell them what they need to know. That's a discipline, and that's really where a lot of intellectual property comes from. So after we simplify, we want to then structure. Okay, so structuring it is basically just creating a repeatable, scalable formula, kind of like what we talked about with simplifying. But in this structure, I have 4 parts in my music therapy or my songwriting course, and I have step-by-step guides on how to do it repeatable. And even if I wasn't the one teaching, somebody could look at that and they could recreate One Day Songwriter very easily. So after you structure, you simplify it down to what needs to be known, and you structure it into a very simple process like the 5 senses and all of that, then you are going to store it. And storing it is where the fun part comes. So storing it, all that means is you turn it into a course, you turn it into a book, you turn it into a certification, you turn it into a framework. That's all it is. It's just finding a way to turn your idea into something tangible. It could even be a faceless YouTube channel. People are making millions of dollars just doing faceless YouTube channels. So like, if you have a weird niche, like you love, I don't know, Christmas or Christmas ornaments, and you create a faceless channel on just like the history of each ornament, somebody might buy that asset. It's super random, but they might buy it, okay? So the last part of this is number 3, which is publish for passive profit. So in that, the first thing you want to do is multiply it into different assets. What do I mean by that? So One Day Songwriter is a course, but it's also a book called Songs That Heal, but it's also a YouTube channel, but it's also music on Spotify, but it's also a different type of course for just music therapists to get continuing education credits, but it's also a framework I can license to nonprofits, and it's also something that I can create a whole like songwriting certification around. So just by that one idea, I've turned it into multiple streams of income. The next thing you are going to do is monetize it. And what monetizing is just what we kind of talked about, turning it into, once you've turned it into all of these different outlets, then you're going to start selling all of these outlets. And then you are going to continue to market it. And this is a big thing. Now, ideas can take forms of a lot of different things. So when I started One Day Songwriter, I thought it was going to be a great thing for songwriters. And whoa, I was wrong. The market told me that that was not what they were interested in at all. But the market told me that nonprofits really, really liked it. So marketing is where then you can change your idea. It's still the same structure, still the same idea, but it helps you understand, okay, so I have this good idea, but it's not matching the market. And so if it's not matching the market, you don't have to throw away the whole thing. You just have to rework the messaging and figure out what people do want. So for me, people weren't ready for the AI part. I should have guessed that because artists, they don't want AI to take them over. They're not ready for that yet. But you know who was ready for that? Nonprofits, because a lot of kids don't have access to music and they want a way to create music without having to learn an instrument for 5 years, because their whole goal is just to relieve the trauma. So that is what I mean by market it and then figure out how to market it to different areas. And that, my friends, is the 3P framework. All you have to do is perceive your assets, understand what you're good at, what makes you unique, and what is something only you can do that the market wants. That's a big part of it. What does the market want? And then package that into intellectual property through books, courses, whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be something online. Like, you can have an idea of a burger factory and then woof, McDonald's, they're right there. Or a taco factory, woof, Taco Bell. Ideas create the business. And then you're going to publish that puppy and turn it into passive profit. It's really that simple. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more, I have a link to my book below that goes a lot more in depth into this on how you can create a business that is sustainable for your lifestyle and unique to you. Because let's be honest, if you just copy and paste somebody else, they're always going to be ahead. You want to make something that is truly yours and authentic because you have a purpose in your life and you have a calling. All you have to do is take action.